Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another review. And this one of Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Like I said, I love this trilogy, but I would say if I had to pick a favorite, it would be this one. Like I said before, Army of Darkness was my introduction to it. Didn't even know there was an Evil Dead 1 and 2 until I read a Fangoria magazine, which had a picture from this film. I'm like, wait a minute, I recognize that guy. I recognize this guy. And it made me want to go check it out. And then I saw this one next. And then I saw Evil Dead, the first one, last. But I saw this on VHS tape multiple times. And was just really like, whoa, this is really cool, really crazy. Especially when we got this scene where he gears up, makes that chainsaw for a hand, double barrel shotgun, rolls it around, groovy. I'm like, oh, yeah, that scene alone sells me on the movie. Manic, inspired genius, a great time. Roger Ebert. I definitely agree. And this Blu-ray, by the way, this 25th anniversary, is really worth it. Good, in-depth documentary on the film. A lot of people. Also, you have the commentary with Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, Scott Spiegel, the great Nicotero. A lot of great stuff on the Blu-ray, so definitely worth it. Now, I know, from what I understand, they didn't want to do Evil Dead 2. They did this film called Crimewave, which I haven't seen. I still haven't seen Crimewave. I think it got released on DVD, but I've never seen it. And they had a bad experience with that. They got fucked with. They're like, well, do Evil Dead 2. Like, okay, well, we're going to get Scott Spiegel, who I like. Scott Spiegel, he went on to direct Intruder, which I do like. For Dust Till Dawn 2, which I do enjoy. And Scott Spiegel is interesting. Seems like a cool guy. And definitely has a crazy sense of humor. And this became more of a comedy. Instead of, straight up horror like the first film, more of a horror comedy. And of course, some people maintain it's a remake. Of course, what happened was they could not get the rights to the first movie. Different studios. I think at the time New Line Cinema had Evil Dead. And they couldn't get the footage. They wanted to use that footage. Then they were going to redo scenes from the first film. I remember hearing that Sam Raimi was going to play the Scotty character. And again, they were going to redo all that stuff. And then I guess they didn't have the time or money to do all that. So then you have this truncated beginning, which is confusing to people. Like, wait a minute, is this a remake? Is this a sequel? Well, pretty much if you skip the first 6 minutes, it gets to a scene that's exactly like the scene at the end of the first Evil Dead. Where the camera's going through the cabin, and then Ash turns, and then it goes right to him. To me, that's where the sequel begins. And like I've said before in my review of the first film, I'm working on my own fan edit, where I'm going to link all 3 movies, and I'm pretty much going to cut the first 6 minutes of the Evil Dead 2, and just go from the ending of Evil Dead 1, he gets hit, flies back to Evil Dead 2. So a continuation. And people go, well, what about the cabin? It's different. Well, this is the same cabin that can make mirrors into water in the first movie, to have light bulbs filled with blood that explode, to have pipe just erupt with blood, and have blood come out of nowhere, come down the projector screen. So maybe it fixes itself up as well. I mean, it's Evil Force. I mean, how many haunted house movies have we seen where things get changed around? Why can't it work on a cabin? So it's bullshit, but it's bullshit I'll feed on and eat. That's the bullshit I'll eat. Other bullshit is still bullshit. But anyway, that's the fan edit thing I'm doing. I'm doing it for fun. But this movie, again, still has that great filmmaking aspect from Sam Raimi, which I don't see from him nowadays. But here, just maybe you got the recap of Necronomicon, and just Ash flying back. I think I remember the first time I saw this. The first 5-6 minutes, I was kind of leery, like, wait a minute, is this a... Well, actually, I had not seen the first film, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have been confused by the beginning. But I'm like, oh, okay, Bruce Campbell is talking to his girlfriend. He's like, well, I'm a man and you're a woman, at least last time I checked. And I'm like, dude, what the hell is this? And I remember at the very beginning, when I first saw this film, that the cheesy, like, that's where I could say cheesy. This is the time I could use the word cheesy. Because usually I hate that word. The skulls flying in and to the camera as they're talking about the book. But then, right when the camera is going through the house and then it hits Bruce Campbell and he's flying back, it's like twirling around, hits it, and I'm like, whoa, that looks cool, that looks original, it looks interesting, it looks different. What the hell was that? I think they call it a Samo cam or something, where he's going around. It's like, wow, that's really cool. It's really interesting. And just all the shit he goes through. The bridge is out. Some nice, like matte paintings, whatever you want to call it. Uh, Driving around, he gets thrown right through the damn windshield, and the camera is still following him as she goes through the back of the windshield and goes through the car all in one shot. I'm like, wow, that looks really cool. How'd they do that? And just the evil force following him into the cabin. And granted, when he follows him into the cabin, if you look above, you can see that there's no ceiling and there's like lights and shit on there, so that's a mistake. But then when it's following Ash through that cabin, the POV, look up. You're like, oh, I can see there's no ceiling, there's no roof. It is what it is, though. That's one instance that I would not mind CGI going in there to fix that shit. Same with the first movie. Like, if you want tampered, that's tampered I can understand. Not stuff like the Star Wars movies. Like, that I can understand. Like, fixing actual mistakes. I can understand that. Like, going in, just, let me fix that. Let me just make this, like, I can understand that. Considering there's been, like, 50 versions of this, I'm surprised there isn't one version that did do that. That'd be something I'd be curious about. That kind of alteration. Fixing actual mistakes, not Star Wars special edition bullshit. But just everything that he goes through. His girlfriend getting up and doing this, doing this dance with her disembodied head. Doing this ballet dance. And then when she jumps, And it's a pretty funny movie as well. Bashing him against the boards and then him screaming is like, what happened? I'm sitting in the chair. And then her head falling into his lap, biting his hand. And of course that line, work shed, which I know Bruce Campbell mentions on Escape from L.A. Kurt Russell came up to him and said, say work shed. Because it's a weird sort of tone that line has. It's like too strong, too loud. Like, work shed. I mean, putting the head in the vise and then the Muppet puppet, body with no head attacking Bruce and then having to take the body down and then sawing the head. And then when you see the blood splash against the wall, you'll see up on top there's actually a Freddy Krueger glove. And I mentioned when I reviewed the first movie, they're sort of tagging back and forth at Wes Craven and Sam Raimi, but you see a little Freddy Krueger glove. And you see that later on as well in the cabin. So I guess there's like two Freddy gloves. I want to say it's a scene in the basement. I could be wrong though. But Just all the shit that happens. Um, Looking at the mirror, and instead of water, a double of him, we just cut up our girlfriend with a chainsaw. Does that sound fine? Or it get into his hand and him having to cut it off with a chainsaw. Um, the little hand fucking with him, giving him the middle finger, and him shooting and trying the best that he can, going to the chair and falling, breaking on him, and everyone's laughing, including a deer head and a lamp, and everyone, like the lamp is laughing like he's Popeye, and just fucked with him. And then finally, these other people who, it's a woman whose father owned that, whose mom and dad owned that cabin, and like a redneck, his gal, and then a guy that the, what's her name, Sarah Berry. Is that her name? Yeah, Sarah Bareilles with. I thought the acting was fine. I thought Sarah Berry did a perfectly fine job. So did Dan Hicks as the redneck. Bobby Joe! Bobby Joe! Where are you, girl? And, you know, they, of course, I can understand this, assuming this, where they looked at a chainsaw with blood on it. Where's my mom and dad? This guy, what the fuck? And then they just throw his ass down the cellar. So, see, people keep telling me that, oh, Ash was always this asshole. Talk about the new TV show. I'm like, when was he an asshole in the first movie? None. When was he an asshole in the second movie? None. He's never an asshole in this movie. He treats his girlfriend well enough, at least up until she's a deadite, and then has to cut her head off and chainsaw it. He's not treating anyone as an asshole. All this stuff is fucked with him. Then they beat the fuck out of him, throw him downstairs. The Henrietta creature comes up, played by Ted Raimi, and he's trying to get out. And they finally get him out, and Bruce is just trying to do the best that he can. They slam on it, they slam it down, the eyeball pops out, which goes into Bobby Joe's mouth. That was a funny gag. That's, again, inspired by the Three Stooges with the, I think was it grapes? I forget which Three Stooges that was. But I did fun stuff like that. Then the one guy becoming a deadite. And Ash runs away, but he's not an asshole. He's running because he gets the axe. And he runs and he chops the top half of the guy's head off. And he's running just to get the axe. So again, people keep telling me, first off, I liked Army of Darkness. But there are other films before Army of Darkness. There are other Ashes before Army of Darkness. And even Army of Darkness doesn't seem like he's as asshole as what I've heard on that TV show. But again, that's a tangent. Please don't argue in the comments. I'll wait till that show has a full season, and then I'll watch it, and I'll be fair by watching the whole season. So just talk about Evil Dead 2, because no matter what, it's going to be, this is better than TV show. I don't even have to see it, because this is a classic. It's a classic movie. Oh, you just say that? Yes, I can. I just did say it. I just said it. I will say it. I know a lot of people would agree with me. Again, out of the three, this is my favorite because I liked Army of Darkness. It's just a shame that it doesn't have more of a horror aspect to it. I enjoy The Evil Dead, but this one has that manic energy from the 6-minute mark to the end of the movie. Is that manic energy. It's stuff that makes me chuckle, makes me laugh. You know, before that, when Bruce Campbell was shooting at the hand, and the hand's like waiting, and accidentally gets stuck by a mouse trap. And then Bruce Campbell laughs, and then shoots. Gotcha, you little sucker. But then this whole tidal wave of blood just shoots at poor Ash. Again, this is a guy that you feel sorry for because he's trying to do the best he can. He's a normal guy, just being fucked with a lot. Doing the best that he can. And he's not being an asshole treating people like shit. Other stuff happens. They see a spirit of Sarah Barry's dad, Professor Noby. Bobby Joe gets pulled away by trees or get into her face, and she gets pulled into a tree. And again, nice edits too. As she gets pulled in, the glass case with a page drops, boom, glass explodes. Again, nice edits, great work with the camera once again, great camera work. Of course, Dan Hicks does a great job as I think the acting's again pretty good all around. Dan Hicks as the redneck that takes the page. These pages don't mean squat. Puts him down the cellar. Just keeps hitting Ash. And then again, this was a pretty good surprise. Well, not really, because I saw Army of Darkness first, so I knew Ash would survive. But when you're thinking about it, they turn Ash into a Deadite. Which is, I didn't mention this in the review for the first one, I should have. Within the Woods. I've seen Within the Woods, and I didn't really care for Within the Woods. Yeah, I don't know why it hasn't been put on one of these editions, just, because people want it. But yeah, it's Within the Woods, pretty much Bruce Campbell became a Deadite, and I think Ellen Sandweiss became Girl Trying to Survive. So kind of like what they did for the remake, pretty much. But it's like, oh wow, he's a Deadite now, and throws Dan Hicks trying to get to Sarah Barry. But again, it shows he's able to fight the evil off. Looks at that pendant. And I like that Sarah Barry trying to kill him with an axe. I said I'm all right. Do you hear me? I'm all right. And then she's like, well, how long? I like that, Sarah Barry's not a pushover either. And of course, amongst all that, before that, she's the one who accidentally stabs Dan Hicks. And then Dart's sense of humor makes me chuckle where she's carrying him. It's like, oh, I can't breathe. Carry him all this way just for him to get pulled down to the cellar by Henrietta, and then this gallons and gallons and fire hose of blood. And the reason there's different colors of blood, like pink blood, green blood, is because they didn't want an X rating, but of course they still got and had to release this unrated. Nowadays it would get an R rating easily. Nowadays the first film would get an R rating easily. Just how times have changed. This would easily get an R rating today. Easily. No question about it. It should have got an R rating back then. I don't understand why it didn't. I mean, for fuck's sake. But, MPA are assholes. American Puto Association of Assholes. But, if you're wondering if there's a noise, it's because I have the heater on, because it's cold. But, I mean, the great memorable shots of, okay, let's carve ourselves a witch. Gearing up, making that chainsaw hand, sawed-off shotgun, groovy. Coming in, bowing, then slam back, but then coming up with... Joel LaDuca, once again, does a great job. That da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey, let's go. Little fight, punching the thing, carving the arms off, cutting that head off, swallow this, blowing the head up. I'm like, yeah! And then even the trees start getting in on it. Say the pages, here's a vortex. She, unfortunately, gets stabbed and killed by the hand. Then there's this Ron Applehead type of bid figure where he chainsaws like right in near its eye, like right beside its eye. and is sucked in the evil way, but unfortunately he gets sucked back as well. And of course he middle ages. And again, just like the beginning of this film doesn't really mesh with Evil Dead 1, the ending of this film doesn't really mesh with Army of Darkness, because at the end of this one, there's a flying deadite and he blows its head off, which is in the opening of Army of Darkness. So I know you have like a little cameo with Sam Raimi and such at the end. And actually, in my edit, I'm trying to work that into it. So, because I always like that shot of him blowing up that flying deadite's head up like a grapefruit. But I just love the comedy, love the manic energy. It's just so many memorable scenes. Just everyone, the lamp and the deer laughing at him. His battle with his own hand. Even before that, when the hand is just smashing all the plates on his head and making him flip over. And then pulling with them, even a point of view from the hand. Who's laughing now? Who's laughing now? Ha! I'm laughing. And just the badass getting, groovy. You have the battle at the end. I always wanted, you get that in the video games. To see Ash just battle. I wanted to see that in a movie. Just Ash with his chainsaw hand battling like 4 or 5 deadites. Cutting 1 in 2, cutting 1 in half, cutting one's face off. Just going to town. I still want to see that in a movie, but I doubt they don't do that on a TV show. If it is, tell me. But anyway, I just love that. And Ash is not an asshole in this movie. Again, I don't know what people... They didn't see the movie then. Oh yeah, Ash has always been an asshole. You didn't see this movie then. That's just the way it is. Name me a moment where he's an asshole. Oh, he grabs the girl. Yeah, because Sarah Barry kept trying to kill him with an axe. Yeah, it's like, where? Just a normal guy in a crazy situation. And even Army of Darkness, I could forgive stuff. And though, just to mention, if you fall down after all the shit that you went through this movie, then immediately you're put in chains, you're whipped, rocks thrown at you, then your ass thrown into a pit where 2 creatures come at you, where you have to survive, and spikes are closing on your ass. You'd be pissed off too at these guys and treat them a little bit like shit too. I would. I'd go through all the shit in this, and technically, in my opinion, the first movie still matters. That's how I look at it. At least it will in my fan edit. But even just this movie alone, then you put me in chains, throw my ass down a pit after throwing rocks and whipping my ass, and no one will listen to me, and or stick up for me. And then you try to kill me, and you have 2 creatures try to kill my ass, and you try to smash me in between spikes. Again, I'd be pissed off too. So I don't really think of him as much of an asshole. It's like, you guys, he even says, first you try to kill me, now you try to kiss me. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. When I look at him back to back, so Army of Darkness I can understand. But, the shit I hear about the TV show, after everything he's been through in the past couple movies, including this one, I don't really get. But yeah, I'll wait on that. I'll wait. But this, great energy, sense of humor, got your blood and gore. Bruce Campbell did a great job. Still wonderful, energetic, kinetic direction by Sam Raimi. Another solid job on the score by Joe LaDuca. And, great memorable moments. And Roger Ebert said it best. Manic, inspired genius, a great time. It is a great time. And a great Blu-ray. So, Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. Love this movie. I think it's an awesome flick. So, thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.